Hi, I'm Ramin Nassehi, a lecturer in UCL Economics and also a member of CTEL, Center for Teaching and Learning Economics. And today I would like to talk about an exciting project that I have been running for the past few years. That's UCL Economics Walk. As its name suggests, this is a walking tour around the streets of London, particularly the Bloomsbury area where UCL is located. So we go around the streets of this area and visit locations that have an economic story to tell. For instance, here we're visiting the house of Vladimir Lenin at the heart of Bloomsbury area. So far, I have given this tour for 15 times face-to-face and 2 times virtually over the Zoom. And overall, 180 people have attended my tours, and they include UCL students and colleagues, parents of students, and more generally, member of publics. And I've given this tour in different occasions, for instance, departmental open days, UCL's Festival of Culture, or UCL It's All Academic Festival. I'm going to talk about both of these versions, the face-to-face version first and then the virtual. But before all of these, let me talk about the underlying philosophy of this project. What's the goal behind running these tours? The main goal of this project is to demystify economics, democratize economics by communicating complicated economic ideas in a simple way to the non-experts. Within this tour, I talk a lot about complex economic ideas like Keynesian fiscal policy, the drivers of income inequality, or the main factors behind financial crisis. But the main goal of this tool is to explain these ideas in a simple way to the public, to the non-experts. The second goal of this tour is community building. As I mentioned, I give this tour to students as well, especially to the freshers. And I talk a lot about the history of UCL economics and the broader Bloomsbury area. The third goal is to decolonize the classroom. The classrooms are usually designed in a way to give authority to the lecturer. But once you get out of the classroom and into the streets, that power relationship suddenly changes. The lecturer gets into a more equal footing with the audience. And you can see this effect in this picture. Here, this is an outreach project. I gave this tour to state school students, and you could see it in their body languages. They're owning that space. We're in front of Keynes' house in Bloomsbury. Now let me briefly talk about the methods that I use in my face-to-face tour. Most of the walking tours or even economics lectures are given in a way that the lecturer or the tour guide stands and talks about different stuff, transmits knowledge, and the audience are meant to receive that knowledge as passive actors. However, I do the opposite. I follow the dialogical method. I start a conversation, a dialogue between myself and the audience, and also among the audience themselves. For instance, we start a conversation about why countries trade with each other. And through this conversation, the audience realizes that they already know a lot of trade theories. It's common sense, however, wrapped around very complicated language. Now, in the spirit of making the tour interactive, I do a lot of games or role plays with the audience. For instance, I ask the audience to put themselves in the shoes of shareholders of Apple company and vote for an economic decision. So these were the methods that I used in my face-to-face walking tour. But then the pandemic happened. Bam! I was not able to give the tour anymore. So I decided to create a virtual version of UCL Economics Walk. And the main challenge for me was that how would I be able to create a sense of location, a sense of geography virtually? But I managed to create this sense by using 3 technologies from my virtual tour. The first one was a customized Google map. So as you can see this map, I've highlighted the locations that we're going to virtually visit in the tour. And I've divided these 3 locations into 3 themes. Economists or thinkers who were associated to 3 different schools of thought: liberalism, socialism, or quote-unquote scientific racism. So through this map, I managed to create an overall sense of location. The second technology that I used was the green screen. Now, the combination of the zoom and the green screen allows you to move around in your slides. For instance, to move around in the customized Google map, going from one place to another, or move around within your PowerPoint slide. And that was very effective in terms of creating a sense of journey in the tour. The third technology that I use is that I play a lot of videos in the virtual version. For instance, I play a video that relates to UCL's history at the beginning of 20th century. Or when I'm discussing Thomas Malthus' theory of surplus population, I play a short video clip from Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol where they actually discuss Thomas Malthus' theory indirectly. And finally, I use the technology of online polling either on Zoom or Mentimeter to create a sense of interactiveness with my audience. Let me conclude by highlighting 3 things about UCL Economics Walk. The first thing is the goal of this tour. This tour aims to demystify economics for the general public. It wants to communicate complex economic ideas to non-experts. Secondly, it wants to decolonize the classroom, especially in the face-to-face version. We get out of the classroom and into the streets and talk about economics. And finally, it wants to create a sense of community and identity for the incoming students. Second, in terms of pedagogy, the tour follows a place-based approach or a location-based approach. We pick a building, a location that has an economic story to tell, and we use that to discuss economics ideas with each other. Second pedagogical aim is that I use the dialogical method. I start a conversation between myself and the audience to talk about economics. Finally, the virtual version of the tour uses various technologies to create a sense of location and a dialogue between myself and the audience. Specifically, I use Google Map, green screen, which in combination of Zoom allows me as a presenter to move to different places in my screen. I play video and music. And finally, I use online interactive polls to start a conversation with my audience. So overall, this tour has 3 ingredients, especially the virtual version of it: the EdTech technology, the dialogical method, and then a location-based approach of talking about economics. We pick a certain location as a case study to start a conversation about economics. And I believe this trio can be used in different contexts, in different campus or towns to the same effect. You don't need to have a historical building in your campus or town. You can pick any location like a Tesco shop that has an economic story to tell and use the same method. In the end, let me mention that this tour was inspired by my colleague, Professor Ian Preston, who created a Google map of Economics Walk for the first time. And finally, let me end by playing the teaser of the virtual Economics Walk for you. Thank you.
Comrade Lenin. Trotsky, the pen.
I'm terribly sorry. You have a worthless teacher today. I'm all cleaned up. Please forgive me.
It's quite masterly.
It was frightful.
I don't know. Made me feel like a vegetable.
Years past, our industry had been strangled by the exchange value of our money being too high.
Kant, at the end of the 18th century, had said it was impossible to have any knowledge of anything that wasn't within the realm of possible sense experience.
And for Galton, his rating was in 3 categories, which were attractive, indifferent, and repellent. It's a covert counting device as well. So you can imagine him as a gentleman of 64 standing on street corners with his hands in his pockets watching the girls go by.
I expect the poor to make use of them. Those who are badly off must go there.
Many cannot go there, and many would rather die.
They'd rather die. They'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.